What's going on, Jeromes? We're back, Daily Jeromes live stream. Happy Thursday out there, everyone, everywhere. Last one to finish out the week. Got a ton of Q&A to get to, so let's fire this damn thing up. First up, Kogi. We need to draft more LSU players. Last two we took have been Jefferson and Hunter. Has there been an intervening LSU guy? I mean, we could have taken Damian Lewis. You know, he went up there and did great things for Seattle. Yeah, minus the sack they gave up against James Lynch. But see, this year, Shelvin, I mean, the nose tackle, yes. Jacoby Stevens, sure. That's really about it. Well, besides Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall, which, yeah, the Vikings probably aren't going to take. What's the deal? If Zimmer's contract was up, would you re-sign him this year? No. But is what it is. Dominic Whetstone, I love the show. Thank you. Josiah Netterer. This team clearly needs a return man. Do we get someone out of free agency or do we draft one? If so, who and where? Well, I mean, there's a handful of wide receivers in this draft who will be extremely competent NFL return guys. You look at Tutu, you look at Daz, you look at the North Texas kid, name escapes me. You look at Elijah Moore, you look at Rondale Moore. I mean, hell. So the draft is an option, although you know it didn't work out with KJ Osborne. Keep swinging, but also I still believe in Mike Hughes as a return man, not a cornerback, as a return man, because that was the best part of his game. But yeah. Jalen Darden. There you go. The aforementioned. Logan Hoffman, Jalen Darden. Thoughts on college football shiftiest player would be a great punt return. I like him coming out of North Texas. So him and Mason Fine, who I was a big fan of last year as well, former Mean Green quarterback. They had a nice connection. But yeah, I think Darden, I think he's probably going to be a day 3 pick. Yeah, but super intriguing. Gavino, who would be opposed to trading down in the late part of the first round and snag that team's second rounder? Well, it would have to take 2 to tango. I think the Vikings are in an interesting trade down spot, but it'd have to be for a specific player that fell. I mean, maybe one of the big 4 quarterbacks, maybe Mac Jones, maybe Devontae Smith or Waddle fall, or maybe even Kyle Pitts falls. But, I mean, teams will see the board the same way that the Vikings do to a degree, depending on their positional needs. It's like, oh, there's a lot of good guys. We don't need to trade up. I mean, we're fine with these 3 or 4 different dudes at the same position, so we'll just chill. But yeah, if you're able to find that market, yes. Rudy Peel, what are your thoughts on Zaven Collins from Tulsa? I feel like post-comment he could be a player that rises into the top 50 in the draft. Yeah, I think he's going to test extremely well. I think that he's actually a more polished actual linebacker than Micah Parsons. Parsons is a guy who's still filling out the position, but the physical tools are absolutely going to skyrocket him up. But Zaven Collins, I mean, tough dude. You like him as a leader. I mean, Tulsa's defense is underrated. I mean, they gave Desmond Ridder quite a game. So yeah, I do greatly enjoy Zaven Collins. Now, would the Vikings go linebacker early? In a world where, say, they let Wilson walk, and maybe they cut Barr, since the Vikings play so much nickel, and you did invest a 4th round pick in Troy Dye, maybe bring Todd Davis back. I don't see them drafting a linebacker in the first round, unless for some ungodly reason Micah Parsons fell. Then they'll just figure it out. Miles, what's Everson going to do if and when he gets back? Rotational guy, play about 400 snaps, get 6 sacks, profit. Michael Pierce, number-wise. Michael Pierce says 97, DJ Lam is 98. Also, what was the role be? Well, let's see. When Tom Johnson, so he was 92, and then he went to Seattle. And then when he came back, B-Rob had retired, so he took 96. So, I mean, they'll figure something out. Well, let's look at the roster right now. Numerology channel coming soon. All right, so 96 is Armand for Watts. So he's 95 up for grabs. Probably should be right. I should know these things. I mean, 91 is still just out there chilling, right? Yeah, they'd figure something out. So Michael Pierce wore 97 at Samford, I believe, as well as the Ravens. I don't know if Wanham's attached to 98. What number did he wear at South Carolina? I think he wore single digit. I want to say he wore like 8 or 9 or something like that. Yeah, 8. That's so maybe is sort of attached to it. Yeah. Although I thought he looked good with 57. A little Dwayne Rudd action going on, but not so much. JPS Football Productions with the possibility of Baltimore wanting to draft a wide receiver. Do you think it's possible that they could trade up to our spot? We can get a second round pick and still get a guy like Leatherwood Darsaw in round 1, and then get Jason Noel with that second round pick. That would be great. That would be great. So you get your freak edge guy, as well as you get a solid offensive line piece. I would be okay with that. But I mean, maybe if it's a spot where like they covet Waddle or Devontae, and one of them fall, like I don't see Jamar Chase falling. But also, where the Ravens are drafting, I mean, they could potentially have a decent choice. So they could go Bateman, they could go Terrace Marshall, they could go Alev if that's their cup of tea. Rondale Moore's probably going to be on board. So I don't know, like maybe if one of the Alabama guys falls, but other than that, probably not. Matt Hammernick. Thoughts on safety Jacoby Stevens from LSU to replace Harris? I like Stevens, where I don't think he's going to go particularly that high, but I mean, he was a big part of that 2019 defense. Yeah, he was. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if the Vikings doubled down on safety, because it's not a top end safety class, but there's going to be like a dozen safeties drafted between round 2 and 5. I feel like. So if the Vikings want to double dip, Stevens is one of those. Why not? Sean Pike, thoughts on Everson Griffin returning? Get it done. Not too expensive, but get it done. Whetstone, although there was no preseason OTAs and really an off-season program, would you rather have the giant draft class again or trade up and get as many studs in the first rounds as you can get? Well, it depends on who you get. But now, give me the big draft class. I think you almost take this season with a grain of salt, especially the cornerbacks. But you saw towards the end of the season how things were getting refined, especially with Dantzler, especially with Gladney. Well, Dantzler needs to stay healthy, especially with Gladney, even though he's been extremely up and down. But yeah, if they let James Lynch play, they want him some more snaps. If Dye can stay healthy and add some weight, I mean, it could be a super intriguing play. Also, Kyle Hinton, no matter what. Benyai Catalan, Rick got to stop accumulating picks and move up this time. 2017, 21 for Congress. Well, okay, we're looking specifically. All right, so you're ignoring the 2020 draft, but you're looking at a 3-year strata. All right, so if you narrow that focus and you're looking at those mid-round picks, so you take out Stephon Diggs, you take out Steve Wedley, you take out Afadi. Okay, that seems like cherry picking. And also, if you're looking at the 4th-round picks, where you just look at Holmes and Samia and Jaleel, etc. But yeah, you can throw TJ Clemmings, Willie Beavers in there too, but also then you have to ignore Everson and Brian Robinson. So, fair. If you could go back in time looking at this year, would you have pushed to keep one or two-legger? Well, I think people are looking back with nostalgia, but I mean, Rhodes and Waynes were bad. They were really bad in 2019. I would have held on to Mac, except Mac had issue, I believe, with the way they handled his injury week 17. But I mean, time heals all wounds. Man, the way that Rhodes played with the Colts at times this year, I would be tempted. I mean, if the bridges can be reconstructed and unburned, and at 31, I don't think Rhodes is going to break the bank. He'll get decent money, but I don't think it would be. I would be shocked if he got over $8 million a year. Shocked. Newsred G. I suggest we give Mr. Hunter white glove treatment this offseason to avoid playing hardball or worse. Trade, surround him with immense talent, and allow him to stay in a few management decisions. Well, I don't think he necessarily needs or even wants management decisions, but pay him. Put in a lot of injury clauses. So the Vikings are protecting themselves. I think there's a way that everyone can win here. Hayden Ziegler. Trade up in round 2 and get Rondale Moore. I've heard his stock has fallen because of injury concerns. Well, yeah, injury concerns are legit because he missed like almost all of 2019. He came into the season late. Also, he got dinged up. But I mean, Rondale Moore's 2018 tape. My God. My God. Like, special player. Sportsmania, $5 in Super Chat. Hey, what's up, Purple Berlin? I subbed. You're a great YouTuber. Skull Vikings, Saver Bear 2021 season. Hey, you're the best. Thank you. And agreed. Seth V. Herman. Do you think the Bears would let CP go? And do you think he'd want to re-sign with the Vikings ever since CP reunion happening at the same time would be legendary? Well, Cordero can't return punts. And the kick return has basically been neutered. But, I mean, he still is the best kick returner in the league. So when Cordero left, the whole thing is like, I obviously want to resign here and shit, and I want to do this, but, the team isn't coming after me. That was a lie. Cordero, 0.0 chance wanted to resign here. Now, could things have changed? It's possible. Fake username 2. How likely Rick trades the first for 2 2s? Well, you need a team with 2 2s. Who's got extra 2s? See, Miami has 2 2s. Jaguars has 2 2s. Is there anyone else? If only there was a better way to look this up. I don't know. I mean, Miami, you could say, is on the cusp. Jacksonville, I think, wants as many picks as possible. So, no. Mihia Megat, where are your top 3 quarterbacks in like the 3rd or 4th round? I guess, does Desmond Ridder count? I mean, hopefully he gets to the 3rd round. That'd be nice. So I'll go Ridder. Kyle Trask? No. Ridder. It wasn't going to be Derek King, except he went back. Kellen Mond to be in there. He just declared. Also, where do these guys keep finding eligibility? I mean, it's just crazy. But Malik Cunningham, I really like. I don't love. Shane Buechele declare. Or is he like a 75th year senior? Well, he's a senior, but is he in? Oh, yeah, he did declare. There you go. So, Buechele. I'm not like a big Buechele fan. Like, I like Ellinger more than Buechele, even though, like, traditional quarterback, you're going to go Buechele 10 out of 10, even though Ellinger stole Buechele's job, which is kind of funny to me. What else? Or who else? I get. Well, if Michael Penix declares, I don't know if he will though, because he's a redshirt sophomore, but also that injury, but that upside, and I think he may fall because of the injury and also the lack of tape. So I would take a shot on him. Next up, Brady Miller. I know you want variety with your mock drafts, but would you really take Devonta over Trey? It would be a decision because if the Vikings think that they're in win now mode, I mean, Devontae is the obvious choice. And if they commit to Kirk Cousins for 2 years, maybe even more, if they tack on extension to lower his cap hit, or perhaps they are dialed in on a mid or late round quarterback, which was our plan with taking Devontae, except then Desmond Ridder went to the Lions in the 2nd round, so it's early 3rd round, so it's unfortunate. But I think it's possible. And also, it's good to explore different possibilities and scenarios because if you just took the same players every single mock draft, I mean, what fun is that? Nah, it's a long time till April, man. Ibrahim, it's like a question we got like a couple weeks ago. It was like, well, I noticed in one of your mocks you passed up Desmond Ridder. Do you hate him now? No. Ibrahim Derai, should we bring back players who are from the 2017 Viking season? Who'd you bring back? Case, except he's got a pretty sweet deal backing up Baker. I'll bring back Everson. I would bring back 2017 Rhodes for sure. That's really about it. I guess he could bring Diggs back. That'd be funny. Kevin Ace, what was your favorite hot dish this year? Favorite episode of Hot Dish? Probably either the Nashville hot chicken or the chicken and waffles, just because just because there's like more work involved, just frying up the chicken, which is always kind of fun. Yeah. Trent Doyle. Do you think AP retires? It will be as a Viking as in a one-day contract sort of deal. Well, the stupid thing about one-day contracts is that the NFL takes them so literally. Like, you need to have roster space to sign a one-day contract. I mean, how? I mean, it's purely ceremonial, but they're just so. I think so. I think that time has healed all wounds between him and the Vikings, pun intended. So, yeah. Also, so when Adrian and the Vikings were having a divorce, Adrian's birthday came up, and they didn't wish him a happy birthday on social media until like evening. So that was a big deal. But now they're, the final game, pictures of Adrian and Jefferson, like the rook and the vet, all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's certainly water under the bridge. Miles, the Aints are screwed next year. Their estimated cap space is negative 99 million. Well, cap is a myth, but Mickey Loomis certainly does not have a Rob Brzezinski. So that's pretty funny. John, and also, isn't Drew Brees like 20 million dead either way? Yeah, he's got $22.65 million dead, whether he's there or not. It's because he's got the restructure as well as the proration of the signing bonus. That's hilarious. That's how you mismanage a cap. So whenever the Vikings have these cap situations, the number to keep an eye on is dead cap. So how much of your salary cap is allocated to players who aren't here anymore? So that's important. So that's why the Vikings and all these restructures, well, here's a rule of thumb. You restructure a player that is going to be here for the duration of their contract. So the players also don't even have to agree to a restructure. Generally, it's into their contract. And what a restructure does, so say hypothetically you have a player on a 3-year deal. So you take his base salary from the upcoming season, you turn that into a roster bonus or a whatever bonus, and then it spreads out that cap hit over the 3 years remaining on the deal. So now the player, he doesn't mind because he gets that roster bonus today as opposed to waiting for 17 game checks. So, I mean, frankly, the player actually prefers a restructure. Helps out the team. He looks like a good guy to the fan base as well as the team frees up some cap. Now, if you expect that player to be around for 3 years, absolutely you do it, right? Kick the can down the road, especially if you have a cap number that's coming off. Maybe like Kirk Cousins structuring Eric Hendricks. Like, do you expect these guys to be here in 3 years? Yes. Or 3-4 years? Yes. So you can restructure. You can kick the can down the road if and when that Kirk Cousins $45 million 2022 cap hit comes off the books. My goodness. Next up. John Anderson TV. If the rumors are true and we bring back Everson on a cheap deal, would you still prefer Kwity Paye in the first round? Do you go O-line? I guess it would depend on the board, but Everson being back should not sway your draft plan one iota, because I think Everson maybe has 1 or 2 years left. But yeah, if Kwity Paye is there at 14, do it. Westworld thoughts on Rich Scangarello? I have no thoughts. Green Bay Productions best open head coaching job. I think it's the Jaguars, because you get Trevor Lawrence, you have 5 picks in the top 100, I believe. So you got 2 firsts, 2 seconds. You have a bounty of cap space. You got DJ Chark. You got Robinson. You got Miles Jack. You got Josh Allen. You have CJ Henderson. You have some intriguing pieces on the Jaguars team. There's 1 in 15 teams that are horrible, and then there's teams that are 1 in 15 like the Jaguars. The Jaguars are not a bad 1 in 15 team, and hell, we saw that up close and personal. So I'm gonna say Jacksonville. Plus, no state income tax in Florida. Plus warm weather. Plus, I mean the Titans are good, the Colts are good, but no one's dominant. So the AFC South is an eminently winnable division. Whereas if you're looking, say the Charger job. So we're talking about quality of life stuff. So LA, Cost of living through the roof. Taxes, California, super high. Same thing with LA County. If you live in LA County. And also, you're in the division with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's going to be tough for a long, long time. Right? And then also, this factors in too. Because if you look at cost of living of Jacksonville versus LA, guys on your staff that you want to bring along who aren't making the big bucks like a head coach, like that's going to factor in. So say you're an assistant quality control coach or a position coach. No, position coach is better. So older position coach, say in your 40s or 50s, and you have a family and they have to come with, and you have to look for housing in LA versus housing in Duval, it matters. It does. And maybe if an assistant who has options is going to go to Jacksonville as opposed to LA. So that all matters. So yeah, the Jaguars, 1,000% is the best job. Oh, we didn't even touch on it. You get Trevor Lawrence. Well, like we mentioned it, but it's like, you get Trevor friggin' Lawrence. Come on. Jake Martinson. Have you ever thought about collaborating with other creators like Tom Grossi or Realistic Randy to create a video? Love your content. Keep what you're doing. No, we're not collaborators. Also, yeah, like every third comment is like, hey, you should work with these people who are better than you. Thanks. MJ the GOAT, will we get Mac Jones? I think he probably will be available at 14. I would pass. Yeah. Looney Tooney, the Bears winning it all? No. T. Johnson, knowing the potential of Keenum, do you think if we had drafted him or signed him early in his career, he would fit this offensive scheme perfectly? I'm surprised Keenum still has an arm because Case Keenum, well, I believe he was the NCAA's all-time leading passer, right? He's got to be. Because I believe he was like a 6-year senior coming out. Like, he was super old. It's probably my favorite. I just love going down PFR and Sports Reference. All right, so Case Keenum, yeah, numero uno, 19,000 yards. Timmy Chang, 2. Landry Jones, the legend Graham Harrell. Like, there's not a good NFL quarterback, including Baker Mayfield, Sean Mannion's up there. Get some. I mean, Jake Browning has to be high on this list, too, because he's a 4-year starter. And it's not like they ran the... Yeah, they're 33. Man. All right, so who... Like, is there a decent quarterback in the top 50? Derek Carr? No. Well, so there's a reason why there's not a high-end quarterback on this list. Because if you're really good, you're generally going to leave after 3 years. So at max, 3-year starter, as opposed to guys like Keenum and Timmy Chang and Landry Jones, they're multi-year starters. As well as teams definitely shied away from the air raid or the spread quarterbacks for a long time, or the fun and gun, run and gun, run and shoot. I guess the best. I guess Chad Pennington, but also that was 3 years on Marshall. Plus he had Randy Moss for one of the seasons, which is hilarious to me. God, I love football history. Oh, Peyton Manning thing. Yeah, so Peyton was a 4-year starter at Tennessee. Remember, he came back when he could have been the number 1 overall pick in '97 when the Jets had that pick, and Parcells was in charge. Man, could you imagine how history would be different? Bill Parcells might still be in New York. Actually, probably not, since Parcells changed jobs like shirts. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, no. I think Keenum is a high-end back. Yeah, because look at this. Dude is in college longer than Van Wilder because he got hurt in 2010, so he got an extra season. That's just funny to me. 5 billion yards. And also, so I believe, yeah, someone, and I think Cliff Kingsbury was on the staff. Maybe he had left by then. But, I mean, it's intriguing. Patrick Edwards was a guy that I thought was going to really turn out. I really like Tyron Carey too. No, Patrick Edwards was going to be good, except then he got hurt. Because I believe it was Patrick Edwards who ran into that cart. Yeah, running full speed when his shin crashed into a cart beyond the end zone. Had a compound fracture. It's unfortunate, man. Oh, we got a lawsuit. Nice. That's right. Because why the... I don't want to play the video because it's probably pretty gross. Actually, it is gross. I remember that. But yeah, look at the... So, yeah, look at the back of the end zone, and then there was just a cart there just chilling. Patrick Edwards is going to be good, man. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Oh, hey, let us know where you're watching from. I'll give a couple shout-outs. Let's see here. Shane Jensen, would you rather be able to have supersonic speed, but in order for it to work, you have to be butt naked? Or would you rather be able to fly, but you need to have it open a huge-ass umbrella in order to fly? All right, so you'd have the speed, except like you couldn't use it in practical applications. Now, I'll run naked. Who cares? Westworld. Will Slant Boy be on more than one team at the end of his career? Yes, I think Michael Thomas will be on like 4 or 5 teams. Mr. Penguin 321. If there was one Viking you would want to bring back or keep, who would it be? It would personally be Chris Carter. John Randall. Steve. Actually, could we get Steve Hutchinson and Randall McDaniel? That'd be legit. Joey Pesic. Will the Vikings extend Harrison Smith? I think it would be smart, because you could actually lower his 2021 cap hit. It would be great for him to be taken care of and his career in purple. Plus, even though he may have lost a step, like him being a step slow is still better than 95% of the safeties in this league. Miles, can a third-round safety start day one? Yes. Like Ardarius Washington, you look at Caden Stearns, I think would be fine. The Syracuse guy. God, name escapes me. We're bad with names today. I didn't sleep much. Chris Danny Hansen. Does Jared Allen get into Hall of Fame this year? Yeah, I think he'd be the first ballot. Saxton Melberg, can you explain the Sharif Floyd story? So, Sharif Floyd, first round pick in 2013, coming out of Florida. Insane first step. Was phenomenal at that 3-tech spot, just blowing up that B gap. What happened is that he had an injury, and then he had a surgery, and the surgery was botched, and then he had some nerve damage, I believe, and cost him his career. And it really, really sucks. Because, I mean, Sharif Floyd was good. Like, him and Zimmer didn't necessarily always see eye to eye, and frankly, I don't think Zimmer handled his injury with the best candor. Hence why Sharif had some choice words for Zimmer through Instagram. But yeah, sure. I mean, Sharif Floyd should still be playing. He should be. That's what sucks. A couple shoutouts. Let's see here. Mark Somberg, Skull from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Saxon Melberg, Hector, Bob Pahul, Hibbing, Minnesota. Dated a girl from Hibbing. Back in the day. Amaya Deshpanda, San Diego, which is Spanish for whale's vagina. Alexander Bolton, St. Paul. What's going on? Pulford Skull, Nashville Hot Chicken. Caden Spikers, Farmington. Mike Benham, Grand Rapids. Nicholas Meyer, Lake Tahoe. Jack Leno, Skull from Limerick, Ireland, Bigarla. Avu Zex Noob, Brooklyn Center. Northern Burbs, what's up? Sure. Smokey Bear, Skull from Woodbury, what's going on? Mahia Megat, Oakdale. Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Jaime Okukin, Finland. Luke Gillette, Cedar Falls. Munich, Duluth, Georgia. Matamidi, Santa Fe. That's right. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Daily Jeromes live stream. Let's go. All right, Mono Casual. What do you think about the Vikings picking up Jabroni and Brisket, a.k.a. Jacoby Brissett? Jacoby Brissett had one of the most insane contracts for a backup quarterback I think I've ever seen. Yeah, he had a 2-year, $30 million deal to be a backup. And I know that they signed him before they signed Rivers, but think about it. So Rivers had $25 million, That's his salary this year. Jabroni Brisket was making bank as well. So that's crazy. That's crazy. I think he'll get offers. It wouldn't shock me if he ended up in like Jacksonville, or not Jacksonville because they're gonna start Lawrence right away. I'm thinking about a spot where they're gonna have a rookie quarterback, but as like a bridge quarterback. You know, like they tried to do with Ty God for Justin Herbert before the doctor just like yoink. So like him. Actually, maybe Brissett to the Jets would make sense, or maybe Belichick gets Brissett back. Since he was originally a Patriot. That'd be funny. Next up, Ezekiel Lockhart. Number one, do you drink coffee? Yes. Do you grind or own or get it ground? I'm not that fancy. I just go with a Keurig. Number two, if the offense and Zimmer continue to control this team, do you see Jefferson turning into a dig situation? Have a good day, sir. Well, I mean, Jefferson did pretty okay in a run-first offense this time around. Now, I think that it would be foolhardy for the Vikings to continue just to run, whatever. So I think that they will open things up once they can get a little bit more pass production. Edwin McCain, who's your favorite first-round talent player this year that you wouldn't want the Vikings to get? Well, I don't consider Kyle Trask a first-round talent, so I guess he's off the board. I don't know, there isn't really like a single player that you would consider, first round that I would be like poo-pooing to the Vikings, given a certain situation. Like even Gregory Rousseau, who I really should amend that. So I'm concerned about his lack of bend on the edge, except whatever team gets him, it would make sense to move him all over the place. Like his best position might be like a pass rushing 3-tech. I mean, because I went back and watched Miami, and they had him playing nose tackle. When they're in passing situations, they had him at 0 tech in like a 3-3-5 or a 3-2-6 dime, and super intriguing guy. Like he is, but yeah, there's like, see, that's the problem where people get on a soapbox and be like, 1,000% not this guy. Kind of like we did with Jefferson last year, even though we respected the macro talent, but we were just worried about the talent overlap between him and Thielen. But it's like, oh yeah, you can just put him on the outside. He's fine. He's fine. Well, one guy I 1,000% didn't want was Greg Little, who was a tackle from Ole Miss. And it did seem like they were, so the Vikings interviewed him. I believe he was a top 30 visit. It was just like, no. Let's see here. Ta has $5 in Super Chat. Would you be willing to give Barr Madison and a first-round pick for Penny Sewell? What would you give for him? Would you be willing? I don't think that the team, I don't think the Bengals would go for that. So, nah. Next up. Kevin Ace. I would love our O-line to be Ezra, Wyatt Davis, Oli Udoh, or Brandon Scherf, Bradbury, O'Neal. I think Wyatt Davis needs to be stuck at right guard. But, the rest of it, you son of a B, I'm in. Samson Romaine. Did you see Deshaun Watson may request a trade from Texans? Your theory may become reality. Damn straight. Also, everyone's saying, well, the Texans wouldn't take anything less than 3 ones and change. Well, I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Your leverage in trade negotiations is walking away. And I don't think they can walk away from Deshaun at this point because I don't think that he wants to be back. I don't think that he wants to work underneath another Patriots dude. And without a first and second round pick, I mean, Deshaun's looking at this like, hey, you got rid of Nuke. I'm still getting hit, even though you traded heaven and earth for Tunsil, even though he's the only good one. So now get me out of here. So the Texans' leverage is 0, right? So now they may get the benefit of a bidding war, which would make sense. But also, I mean, how many teams are going to want to take on that contract? Now, fiscally, the Vikings could do it, and actually they'd be in better shape with Deshaun as opposed to continuing to weather out the Kirk Cousins storm. Because remember, they have the same base salary in 2022, $35 million. So I guess we'll see. Perped out. Han Dantzler and Gladney, I feel all like great rookie seasons. Can't wait to see what they'd be like next year. They didn't have good seasons because they weren't perfect. Well, obviously they weren't going to be perfect. I mean, limited offseason. You have a bunch of rookie cornerbacks out there in a pretty complex Zimmer scheme. A lot of responsibility, especially down on the goal line. This isn't just a lineup and play. This is hey, if they do this, this is your responsibility. If they shift, do this is yours. There's a lot of things going on. Rudy Peel. What are your thoughts on Deontay Brown, guard from Bama, and Rashad Weaver, edge from Pitt? I like Weaver. I like his teammate, the other edge guy. He's a second. God, it's like the 400 names of this draft or something. I like Weaver as like an all-around solid edge rusher. I don't think he has the same get off the edge as the. God, that's gonna bug me. Yeah, Patrick Jones. I was gonna say Patrick Robinson, except I knew that was incorrect. All right, so Patrick Jones. I prefer Patrick Jones second, and Deontay Brown. I would definitely put him third in the pecking order of the Alabama linemen that are going to be coming in. Like even behind Dickerson, even though Dickerson has the injury, he'll be fine. But yeah, I think it's Leatherwood clearly won. But I mean Brown in the third round mix. Yeah, Brock Bangson. If the Vikings want to trade back in the first, what players do you think could fall that teams would realistically trade up to 14? Oh, so say a team really falls in love with Rousseau or maybe even Aziz. But I mean, this is all sort of moot until after the combine because I think some of these guys are absolutely going to like. Jason O'Well right now is projected as like a top 50 pick. I mean, after he tests, like he might be a top 20 pick. Yeah. I think one of the quarterbacks, if they fall, Waddle or Devontae Smith. So maybe Kyle Pitts. Jacob Tobin. A chance the Vikings get Everson or Cordero in free agency. I think Everson is infinitely more likely than Cordero. I think Cordero is at like a 2%. I think Everson might be 50-50. 50-50 with Cristobal. Just that show needs to come back, by the way. Josiah Netterer. Who is your favorite MVP? Mine is Derrick Henry, 2K yards. Definitely MVP deserving. It should be Derrick Henry, just so that the octogenarian doesn't get it. Evan Cascanaway does. Rousseau's football IQ, where are you? That's all speculation. JPS Football Productions. Also, I always find that extremely disingenuous where you just get a random... so sources say he doesn't love the game. Well, there's always an agenda attached to that. Like, why is this anonymous source trying to burn the kid, or is he trying to manipulate his draft position? So, no. JPS Football Productions. Why do we refuse to play James Lynch on 3-Tech? That's a very good question. And practice is not the issue. So I don't know if it's something else or if it's just a dedication to Jaleel and Stefan and Armon for Watts. I don't know. Hell, they didn't even play Armon Watts last year, but now he's playing and he's been okay at times, but also nothing to write home about. Verkslu. Thoughts on 21 Vikings schedule? 13-4. Winning it all. Chris Danny Hansen. Would you rather have to try to tackle Derrick Henry or get sacked by Danielle Hunter? Well, I'd rather try to tackle Derrick Henry because he'll probably just throw me out of bounds, which would be fine with me. But getting sacked by Hunter, I mean, what's worse is that since I'm right-handed, I would see it coming. So then you'd you'd almost want to be blindsided. I know it's not a need, but how cool would it be for Jamar Chase to pair up with Jefferson again? Come on, Falls would be very intrigued. Well, he'd have to kill a guy. Yeah, I think Jamar Chase, even though he opted out, I think it's still going to be the clear wide receiver one in this class. Miles. Well, not clear, but I still think he'll go one. Who is the best value in the draft? I think that there's going to be some safeties as well as some defensive interiors that are going to be drafted a lot later than people think. So, notably defensive interiors. So guys like Marvin Wilson, guys like Onwuzurike, guys like Twyman, guys like, who else? Guys like Slayton, guys like Stills, both of them. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of defensive interiors that have a niche role. Either they're run stoppers or they're quick penetrating 3-techs and not about that run support life. So I think that could cause them to fall, which enhances the value of guys like Tufel from USC or guys like Christian Barrymore, guys like Davion Nixon, where you kind of have the best of both worlds all together. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of, like, if you told me that Twyman fell to the third round, like late third round, and then led the rookie class in sacks because there is no Chase Young in this class, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Twyman goes somewhere where he plays on passing downs, he plays 3-tech, he blows up a gap and gets 9.5 sacks as a rookie. Wouldn't shock me. Evan Kiss got away. Everyone's busy talking about Derrick Henry did last week, but you see Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, JTT is a dude. Definitely. He's going to be a top 5 pick in fantasy next year. Noisy boy. If Jamar Chase is still available with the draft, do you take him? Yesh. Justin Banks, what's your thoughts on Malik Hooker as a Harris replacement? Man, I had high hopes for Hooker, but it wasn't working out. So, no. Pulford Skull, Watson and a young Clint Kubiak, my, and Zimmer cleans up his defense. And then eventually Zimmer retires and then Clint Kubiak takes over. It's the Kubiak regime, the dynasty. Does Clint Kubiak have a kid? Groom him up to be special teams coordinator. Mano Giscus. So Vikings fans on Twitter are angry at Jefferson for speaking his mind on Twitter. Yeah, people are always mad. DMN1447. Everson Cordero back in 2021. Sure. Shane Jensen, Starburst or Skittles? Starburst. Also, I know that everyone creams in their jeans over pink Starburst, but red ones are good. Let's see how many more we got. Is that you, Rona? Zero. Justin Fields falls to 14. Yes. I don't think he's going to fall like Deshaun Watson. Well, there's so many nitpicky things about Deshaun Watson. It's like, well, his ball velocity is only 45 miles an hour. Okay. Kiskanaway, do you like Tamori on Terry? It could be the answer, punt return, wide receiver for 3. Oh, actually, let's look at the stats. Sports reference. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so yeah, down year this year, 1,000 yards receiving last year. Let's see his punt return stat. Oh, I should probably pull this on screen. Didn't have any return stats? I could swore he return kicks. Oh, well. It's an interesting wide receiver class. It is. Next up is Joe Smith. Who's your NFL comparison to pay? Well, it was Reggie White, except that might be a little bit too grandiose. I feel like Brandon Graham is a pretty decent one. And it's not just because of the Michigan thing. But like a stout defensive end who's a high character guy, going to be a team leader, good against the run, unselfish. I can also really get after it. Frankly, I'm glad that Brandon Graham finally made a Pro Bowl, but yeah, I go Brandon Graham. John Adams. If Devonta Smith is still here, do you think the Vikings pull the trigger? I think they would. I would hope they would. Clint Kubiak or a riot. Mr. Penguin 321. Do you think Eric Kendricks got snubbed for a Pro Bowl spot? Yes, but also, well, he did get injured and miss the last couple of games, but also Pro Bowl voting was pretty much done by that time. So yeah, it's an absolute snubbing. Do you like Chihuahuas? Sure, they're cute. Kevin Ace, Kadarius Toney and Amari Rodgers could potentially be late round steals at wide receiver. I don't know if Toney's going to be that late of a pick. I mean, just him as an all-around dynamic threat. I'd be shocked if he fell out of day 2. Like he could be like an early round 2 guy, like like where Hamler and Claypool went last year. Castanaway, is Afadi better than Wanham as of now? I think as of right now, technically, yes. Well, not technically, but as a technician, as a defensive lineman, yes. But Wanham has youth. He's a better athlete as well as he's got time on his side. So it's toss up. Abza Abdi, does Mac Jones have to win a championship to convince people he's a first round quarterback? No, I think the hay's in the barn, and however he performs shouldn't influence his draft stock either way. Yeah, that's why. It's so interesting. So people were down on Fields, and then Fields plays well against Clemson. It's like, ow, is he above Trevor Lawrence now? Well, does that really undo multi-years of tape? Probably not. Same thing with Wyatt Davis. So Wyatt Davis, lights out in 2019. This year came back. Could have easily opted out and gotten ready for the draft, but he came back to be part of the team. He's had some up and down games this year, notably down against Clemson. But okay, I mean, does that completely ruin your assessment? No, it shouldn't. Next up is Abs Abdi. Would you float the idea of trading Madison to draft Najee Harris or Etienne, or are you content with what you have now? Well, I think Harris and Etienne are going to go a lot higher than what you would fetch in a trade for Madison, so I think it's a moot point. Thoughts on order of draft picks. Tier line, defensive line, safety. Mention the names that you would like. So I guess Wyatt Davis or Slater or Vera Tucker. 2 would be Twyman. Hell, maybe Barmore drops. I don't know. Or maybe you have to maneuver, go up and get him. I really like Onwuzurike. Plus, I think he's going to fall to a degree because he kind of is a man without a true position. A little bit lighter as well as opted out this year. Safety. Give me Ardarius Washington. I can't get past it, man. I love him. Perped out. Do you see the Vikings going after any free agent wide receivers? If there's a free agent wide receiver you want, see him going after. Jamison Crowder, free agent. He's got to be coming up soon then. No, he's under contract through next year. I'm surprised they didn't go after Crowder harder because of what he did with Kirk and Washington. But other than that, I think they'd be better off spending in the draft. Thorvald Von Johnson. What's the hardest position to project talent in the NFL? What position is most often a fail? Well, quarterback one. But also, I would say cornerback. Yeah, especially guys that you want to be in the slot because even though slot cornerback is becoming more prolific in college football, a lot of times it is, hey, we have this really good outside college cornerback, and now let's kick him inside. And that's tough, man, because in college, I mean, you can use the boundary as a defender for sure, as well as, you know, the route trees, the concepts being thrown at you are relatively rudimentary, especially with the proliferation of the spread offenses and the air raid. But it's just who's a better athlete at that point. But I mean, there's so much being thrown at you in the pros, and also that OCs and quarterbacks are going to attack you as well. So I mean, it's a lot. So I would say cornerback. Thorvald Von Johnson. Oh, read that one. Josiah Nittera. If the Vikings had number one, Thomas Delkey, who will be the Vikings' other safety next year? Rookie TBD. Colin Andrus, top 5 offense, and combined with our defense and next year's ours. Love channel. Hope you're doing well. Hi. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. Logan Lamotte, what are the chances the Vikings would actually do the Watson trade with the Texans? 2. Would the Vikings take a chance on TJ Vasher? He's a receiver from Texas Tech that's 6'6" and runs a 4.5. Dude's a monster and will probably fall in the later rounds. I wasn't overly impressed with TJ Vasher. Even though, he runs an alleged 4.5, you get a lot of like Rodney Smith vibes. And not Rodney Smith, the running back. Rodney Smith, the Florida State wide receiver who's like 6'5", 6'6" for the Vikings. I believe in 2014. Yeah, I think so. Jacob Mejia Mega, most overrated quarterback in the draft. I think it's Kyle Trask. I think it is. Where I like the kid as a person, but I mean the big time stats. I mean you can't sleep on the SEC production, but you look at the offense, you look at the system. The Dan Mullen, Urban Meyer spread option. I don't know if it translates. I don't know if he throws with enough accuracy and anticipation to make it at the next level. I don't. Ian Harper. Do you think that if Daniil stayed healthy and Yannick wasn't traded, the Vikings could have made a playoff run? Yes. But also, if Daniil's healthy, I don't think they make the Yannick trade. Robbie, who are your top 5 wide receivers available this draft other than the Alabama wideouts? Well, we should probably take out the LSU wideouts too, right? Yeah. So, all right. So take out Marshall, take out Chase. We're going to go Bateman, Rondell Moore, Tony from Florida. I like Nico Collins, but I'm not in love with him. Also, I think he's going to go a lot higher than people would expect. I like Daz Newsome. I like the Ole Miss kid. Yeah, it's different. Like, this is not a great, 6'4" outside the numbers at the X receiver spot. Like, there isn't even a Michael Pittman in this class. Like, there's a lot of small, fast, shifty guys that are super fun. It is. I actually might have to wrap this up soon because I got stuff to do. Let's see. Oh, we're almost done. Never mind. Random us the boss. You think if we trade for Watson, JJ Watt would come with? Probably not. Perped out. Who do you think will be cornerback 3 next year? Do you think they'll give it to Hand? I think they'll sign a free agent. It might be Xavier Rhodes. And they'll be opposite of Dantzler, Gladney in the slot. Harrison Hand will be cornerback 4. Siona Gona, what's the most surprising pick do you think the Vikings will make in the draft? I think they'll draft. I guess the pick they don't make. I actually don't think that they'll take a quarterback this year. Or a quarterback high. Which sucks. T. Johnson, what pass rush combo would you take next to your squad? Prime Jared and Everson, John Randall, Alan Page. I will take Randall and Alan Page because of that interior. And, I mean, because you're probably going to draft an edge. And Wanham's going to be a decent. Everson's probably going to be back. And then you get Danielle Hunter back. So, yeah, I'll take the interior pass rush. But that's it. That's the Daily Jerome's live stream on a Thursday. That's it for the week. Thanks for coming along. Subscribe if you haven't already. Good times. You guys are the best.